When you were asked on cross-examination, specifically, Thug's lawyer asked you about the tour dates and what tours or what shows you went to when Defendant Williams performed. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember him asking you whether you knew him, and by him I mean Thug, in 2009?
Yes.
And you said that you did, correct?
Yes.
And do you remember him asking you whether or not Defendant Williams was performing in 2009?
Yes.
And do you remember him asking you whether Mr. Williams was performing in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember him asking you whether you went to any of Mr. Williams' shows during those times?
Yes.
Do you see or do you have an independent memory of whether on May 13, 2013, you were at one of Defendant Williams' shows?
I don't remember.
I'm asking you. If you don't, that's okay. You can say no.
I don't know.
Okay. And do you know whether he was performing at either one of those shows that Mr. Steele asked you about on September 9th, 2013?
Do I know?
Correct.
If he had a show, he gonna perform.
Do you know whether he had a show on that day?
I don't remember the day.
All right. Do you know if he had a show on September 11th, 2013?
I don't know.
Do you know if he had a show on January 6th, 2015?
I don't remember.
Did he have a show on January 10th, 2015?
I do not remember.
Did he have a show on September 14th, 2017, to your knowledge?
I was locked up.
Okay. You remember Mr. Steele asking you whether you were still a fan of Defendant Williams' music?
Yes, I still listen to the music, yes.
Okay. So did you follow whether or not he had any shows on these dates?
I was locked up.
Okay, so you didn't.
I'm away from the world.
All right. When you said on cross-examination that you got information from Garlington, who got it from Copeland, do you have any memory now of what parts of what you told the police came from Garlington?
No.
Did the information you gave them about Lucci's mother's house come from Copeland or from your prelim or from your being there?
I don't remember.
You were asked by Mr. Steele about Thug giving you money. Do you recall telling the police about a time when all of you went to the mall and stuff and Thug had bought you all clothes?
I mean, I don't remember, but if we did, if we went to the mall with him, he bought us clothes, we probably going somewhere.
How often did Thug buy you all clothes?
That's the only time I remember.
Which time was that?
Whenever time y'all talking about.
And which time were you talking about?
I don't know. See, you keep saying like him buying y'all clothes, like you got to think about it. I knew him before them, so like the clothes been in there, like we grew up together.
Okay. So did he buy clothes for a lot of people around you?
I don't know. I just know what relationship that different people had. I don't know what relationship different people had.
Okay. And when you were asked about Defendant Williams' relationship with Rich Homie Quan by Thug's lawyer, did you hear Thug call Rich Homie Quan a bitch on any other day besides the time you told police about in March?
Did I hear it for myself?
Yes, on any other day.
No, I told you I think I heard it like somebody.
And when did you first start hearing, either from yourself or someone else, Thug say disparaging or bad things about Rich Homie Quan?
I didn't even hear that. I don't be hearing it. Like, I've been locked up all this time. Like,
okay. So
I've been away from these folk. Like, I don't remember nothing. I've been locked up 8 years. Like,
but you weren't locked up in March of 2015, right?
I was sick in March of 15. We just said that earlier.
You were not locked up then, though, right?
No.
And you were not trying to hurt Thug when you went in to talk to the police, right?
Man, I don't remember.
Okay. Am I the only one you don't remember with?
No, it's just you keep asking me and my mind ain't processing. Like, you asking me stuff I already answered.
Okay. Do you need a moment? Do you need to take?
No, I'm okay. I'm just saying you asking me stuff I already answered. I keep telling you I don't know. If I remember, I tell you.
Okay.
I don't tell you I don't remember everything.
Okay. All right. Do you know whether it was Copeland, Garlington, or your prelim where you got the information you gave to police about Philo, D, Stewie, and Stag?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember whether it was Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or your personal knowledge where you got the information about Thug driving a Corvette in the few days before Donovan Thomas was murdered?
I told you I knew he had a vet. I ain't say nothing about no. I don't remember.
What did you start to say before? I don't remember.
I knew he had a vet car. I told y'all that already.
Okay.
I don't remember nothing else.
And was that a vet that he owned?
I don't remember.
Do you know if he rented a Corvette in the days before Donovan Thomas was murdered?
I don't know. I don't know the paperwork agreement.
It's James.
All right. When you talked about going to Florida in a Sprinter van that had already been reserved with Mr. Steele on cross, did you get the information from Copeland, Garlington, or your prelim that you went in that Sprinter van with Shannon, D, Woody, and Yak?
So you asked me, how did I know who I went with?
I'm asking you whether when you told the police that, if that was something you got from somebody else or something that was true.
That was something that's true.
Okay. And when you told the police that the beef between YSL and If Gang started when Woody and Mooktoon shot Kale, was that something that was true, something you got from Copeland, Garlington, or your prelim?
I don't remember the person I lied about.
Okay. And when you told the police that Shannon, Yak, Nard, and Doo-Wop were going to meet Bushi on the night that Donovan Thomas was murdered, was that something that you got from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or Shannon?
I don't know.
Do you have any idea where you would have had access to that information? Other than Shannon?
No. What?
Other than Shannon?
Shannon ain't tell me that. What you talking about?
Okay. So
I told you Shannon ain't tell me that.
did you get it from Copeland?
I don't remember. I know for a fact Shannon didn't tell me that, and I told y'all that.
Okay. Why don't you remember whether you got it from Copeland, but know for a fact it didn't come from Shannon?
I know for a fact I told you that I didn't get it from Shannon.
Did you get it from Yak?
I know for a fact I told y'all, if asked, I didn't get it from him.
Okay. Did you get it from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else, that on the way to meet Bushi, they fucked up and saw Nut? Who'd you get that from?
I don't remember. I ain't probably get it from nobody. I don't remember.
You think that was something you made up?
Probably.
Objection, Your Honor. This is all beyond cross.
Judge, thank you. Now, when you told the police that after they fucked up and saw Nut, they rolled back around and started shooting at Nut, did you get that from Copeland, Garlington, the prelim, or somewhere else?
I don't know.
When you told the police that it was outside a barber shop that they saw Nut, was that from Copeland, Garlington, the prelim, or somewhere else?
I don't know.
Did you ever see Nut on the surveillance footage that you saw on TV?
I don't remember.
Okay. And when you told the police that the barbershop and Texaco are places where if gang members hang out, is that something you got from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
I don't know.
When you told the police that Bentley took the guns to his spot on Oak Drive, was that something you got from Copeland, Demikion, your prelim, or somewhere else?
You can.
Thank you. When you told the police that Shannon and Yak told you, I just caught that in Nut down bad, did you get that from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
A lot.
Is that something now you're saying you made up entirely?
I already told y'all. Shannon, nobody ain't told me nothing.
Well, that's why I asked. Did you get it from Copeland, Garlington?
I said nobody ain't told me nothing.
And when you told the police that Shannon had a XB-45, is that something you got from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
Nobody told me nothing.
Okay. So did you make that up too?
I don't know.
All right. And when you told the police that the 7.62 was Nard's gun, was that something you got from Copeland, as you're sitting here today testifying, is that something you got from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
I don't know.
Right. When you told the police that Nard talked about the murder after Miami, is that something you got from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
Something I lied about.
Okay. When you told the police that after seeing Woody staying on the couch acting worried, Nard said that nigga Woody gonna fold, he gonna tell on us about that nut situation, is that something you got from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
Somewhere I lied.
Okay. And when you told the police that Thug asked them, do you remember talking about Thug acting normal on cross-examination with Thug's attorney?
What you mean?
Do you remember Mr. Steele asking you whether you testified that Thug was acting normal after?
When he had me that today?
Do you remember at any time him asking you that?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. When you told the police that Thug asked Shannon, Yak, and Nard why they killed Nut, did you get that from Copeland, Garlington, your prelim, or somewhere else?
I told you and them 1,000 times I lied. And I said it. I told them years ago I lied.
Okay.
So it ain't nothing new.
Okay. So would you tell the jury whether that was something you just made up out of the thin air or?
I don't remember. I just know I lied.
Okay. Now, is it only the things about people who are on trial now that you know for a fact you lied about?
What you mean? I ain't never said anything about nobody else.
When you talk about what you do know and what you can't remember, is it only the information that you gave about Thug, Yak, and Shannon that you know for a fact you lied about?
Because I lied. What you mean?
Okay.
I don't understand what you say. I know I told y'all years ago that I lied. And you know that.
And so, Mr. Zachary, all I'm asking is,
And
in
I'm
that
telling you,
August,
I lied then. I told them back then I lied.
and in August 2015, all I'm asking is, today is your testimony that the only people you lied about are Thug, Shannon, and Yak.
No, I lied about whoever they asked me about.
So you didn't lie about Woody getting jumped 5 or 6 days before Nut got killed, did you?
Everybody knew he got jumped.
Okay. Did you lie when you told the police that you all believe that Woody shot up Lucci's studio on Metropolitan?
I don't know.
Did you lie when you told the police that Rock Crew and YSL were the same thing?
I don't know.
Sustained.
Do you remember Mr. Steele saying or asking you, isn't it true that no one ever confronted you in 2017 about the things you were saying in your proffer that were different than what you said in 2015? Do you remember that?
I remember him.
Subject to the form of that question. Never even broached that topic.
Overruled.
Do you remember that?
I remember him saying something about the 2017 interview.
Do you remember him asking you, isn't it true that no one ever confronted you about things that you were saying different in 2017 than what you had said in 2015?
That may have been not you, but a different. It was covered in cross. I'm not sure who asked it.
Okay.
That was me.
Yeah.
My apologies to everyone. Do you remember Shannon's attorney telling you you never were confronted in 2017 about things you said differently than what you did in 2015? Do you remember that?
I think he said something like that.
And do you remember agreeing with him? Yeah, nobody ever confronted me about things I said different.
I think he said the officer or somebody was in there. I don't remember.
I'm sorry, what
Then
name?
he asked me why the officer or somebody didn't confront me or something. I don't remember. He said something like that.
Was Mr. Richardson your lawyer or your friend in that interview? That
No, he was not my lawyer.
he was there on your behalf?
I don't know how he got there.
Okay.
But it later came out that he wasn't my lawyer though.
Isn't it true that you all were allowed to take breaks and that after at least one of those breaks, Detective Dennis came back and told you that reminded you that you had said a lot more about the murder than in 2015 than you were doing now in 2017?
I don't know.
Isn't it true that after that point, Detective Dennis asked you about what you had told him in 2015 about Duop and Nard?
I don't know.
Isn't it true that at that point you said you had heard that they were involved, that is, Duop and Nard were involved? You had heard that from Copeland, and then you said, I meant Shannon. Isn't that true?
I don't remember.
Isn't it true that after you told them that Shannon came to the apartment after the murder and told you about the murder, they pressed you on exactly what Shannon said to you?
You say, is it true that he told me? You asked me, I don't understand that question.
Isn't it true that during the 2017 interview, when you told the police and people with the DA's office with Mr. Richardson present that Shannon came to the apartment after the murder and told you something about the murder, you were asked what exactly Shannon said to you, and you said, I don't want to talk about it?
It was a lie.
Okay.
I don't know. I still don't understand the question.
You were pressed on what exactly Shannon told you in the 2017 interview.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. Isn't it true that when you said you were not pressed or you were not confronted with differences in your story, that what you said about not being confronted wasn't exactly accurate? In other words, when you said something different, the police did ask you, wait a minute, what about this? You said it
I
differently
don't
over here.
remember. You would have had
Okay.
to show me for me to know. I don't remember.
Okay.
But I don't think they confirmed me. Ricky had asked y'all 2 years ago, did y'all have a video he can see? Y'all told him no. Y'all told me it wasn't no interview, just transcripts.
Okay. And during that 2017 interview, when you were looking at pictures of Shannon and Duop and Nard, isn't it true that you signed your name and wrote Shannon's and Nard's and Duop's on their pictures?
I don't remember, probably did.
Okay. When you were asked about the Lil Wayne bus shooting on cross-examination, is it your testimony today that you remember events that happened that night?
I don't know. Like, y'all been asking me all these questions, like, I don't know.
Do you remember telling detectives in the 2017 interview that people didn't need to get the gang's permission in order to carry out the Lil Wayne bus shooting?
I don't remember it being said like that or something. I don't know.
Do you remember being asked on cross-examination about the Infinity that you were in, that you rode inside with Copeland?
I remember y'all saying something about it. I remember somebody said something about it.
Do you remember, I believe it was Mr. Steele, if it was not, correct me if your memory is different. Do you remember Thug's lawyer asking you whether the information you got about that Infinity came only from Copeland?
Yes.
Do you remember today whether the information you got about that Infinity came only from Copeland?
Yes, I told Woody. So I never saw somebody else in the car, but Woody, he told me about the car.
Is there anything in particular about that that causes you to remember it as opposed to others?
I remember the car because I remember we wrecked the car.
And was it Woody who told you that Thug's manager rented it?
Yes. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't know. Woody said he thought it was Thug rental car or something. I don't remember. I told him I know something in that car though. I told him I know something. Nobody in the car but Woody.
You told the jury earlier that after a certain point that Thug stopped associating with Woody. You said something like that on cross. Do you remember that?
I think I said he stopped coming around all the negativity. Like it was so much going. I think I said that.
Do you remember specifically talking about Woody and Thug not hanging around Woody?
Yes, cause I said he had a lot going on.
Do you remember when that was that you remember Thug stopped hanging around Woody?
I don't know.
Okay, generally speaking, would you say it was around May 2015?
I think Woody was already locked up, man. I don't know.
So does that mean it probably happened before that or after that?
I don't remember. I just know I think Woody had got locked up summertime, so I don't remember.
Do you know whether Woody actually talked to Thug about getting his bond paid in June 2015.
June, I was locked up, so I don't know.
Okay, you were asked about Thug and Woody's relationship. I'm just asking you if you know anything about.
June, I was locked up. So
Okay, so that's a no?
I was locked up, I mean.
When you're locked up, does that keep you from getting information
Yes.
about other people that are locked up?
Yes.
So were you locked up federally?
No.
Were you locked up in Fulton County?
Yes.
So if you were locked up in Fulton County and Woody is locked up in Fulton County, do you all have the ability to talk to each other, or do you not
No.
have access?
All on different flow.
Okay. Does being on a different floor keep you from having access to other people or talking to other people in the jail?
Yes.
Okay. Just one moment. Do you not remember speaking with Sledge from inside the jail or Moontoon? Why?
Me and Mook, I don't think if I talked to him and he was on the street, I don't even think I talked to him. What time you talking about?
While you were in the jail and he was in the jail.
Probably went to court, yeah.
And what about Garlington? You remember getting communication from Garlington while you all were both in jail?
He and Garlington and Sledge was on the case together. We go to court together.
Okay. Are they the only people that you talked to while you were in the jail that were in the jail with you?
I don't remember. Probably people in my dorm, I don't remember.
All right. What did you say?
People in the dorm, probably.
Okay. You were asked on cross-examination about a picture of Shannon taken sometime before January 10th, 2015. Do you remember Mr. Steele asking you about it?
Sustained.
Okay. Do you remember being shown a photograph of Shannon standing in front of a window?
Yeah, I remember that picture. I remember that picture.
And do you have any independent knowledge of when or if that was placed on any social media sites?
I think I remember. I think I took that picture. I was thinking about it.
Just the picture, though.
When I saw it, I remember the picture for some.
Did you post that on your social media site?
No.
Okay. Now, when you were asked on cross-examination about Antonio Sledge being drunk and Garlington being high and you being high on April 28, 2015, were you telling the jury everything that you remembered about that night when you spoke with Shannon's attorney on cross-examination?
Did I what?
Is that all that you remember about that night on April 28th as you sit here today? April 28, 2015, that Moontoon was drunk.
Your Honor, I was going to let it go, but I'm going to object to the misstatement of the testimony. His testimony was not that.
Sustained.
Do you remember anything else about the night of April 28th that Mr. Sharp asked you about on cross-examination regarding Sledge being drunk?
I think I told him I don't know. I don't remember. I think I told him I was high myself, so I couldn't really tell.
And what does that type of high do to your ability to remember?
Xanax.
Okay. What does that do for you and for your ability to remember?
A lot. I might be on 3-4 of them at a time.
And does that cause you to forget things?
Yes.
Okay. So if you remembered that it was only you, Sledge, and Garlington, at what point did the high wear off to allow you to remember that?
Because I remember who I got in the car with.
Okay. Do you know what Trontavious Stevens was doing during that time?
No.
Okay. You were asked whether you went to Arrowhead Pond with Copeland and Sledge. Do you remember that?
I remember telling him I didn't remember if Sledge was with us.
Okay. Do you remember testifying on cross-examination that you wanted to convince Gaither and Dennis that you were telling the truth so that you could get out of jail?
I remember. I don't remember. I told her, asked me all these questions. I don't remember.
Do you remember when you were shown a clip of Gaither coming into the room saying, y'all been calling me and now I'm here? You remember that? Okay. Now, do you remember being asked whether you wanted to meet with Gaither so that you could get out of jail?
I remember me saying I ain't called them. I remember saying that.
Okay. Do you remember saying you wanted to clear Sledge of the shooting?
I thought that was what I was doing, but I was told you I was young.
Right. Did you lie when you told the police that the phone number they showed you was not yours?
I don't remember.
You remember when you were asked on cross-examination whether you lied when you said you weren't involved in the April 28th shooting?
Who?
You remember when you said on cross that when you first sat down, you said, I wasn't involved. I ain't have nothing to do with that shooting.
I remember saying I lied. I don't understand what you're saying. You gotta ask it again.
Okay. You remember saying you lied in the August 5th, 2015 interview. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you lie when you told them or confirmed for them Demikion's phone number?
Your Honor, outside the scope of cross.
Sustained.
Did you lie when you told them that the phone number they had was not yours?
Outside the scope of cross.
Sustained.
Do you remember when you told them when you first sat down, you were making stuff up as you were going on? You remember saying that on cross?
Yeah.
At what point did that change, if at all?
What you mean, did it change?
Well, you said at first I was making stuff up as I was going on.
I still was making stuff up.
Okay, so are you saying that you made stuff up throughout the whole interview on August 5th, 2015?
made stuff up and said stuff that I had already heard.